Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome to the Pollen Count edition of the Columbia Economic Development. And we've got a full agenda today, and I'm glad to see everybody. Number one, accepting the resignation of a board member, Christian Lopez, from Coyote Flaco, has submitted his resignation. He was elected just about a year ago, and quickly ran into health problems, elder care demands, plus running the business, and just was not able to attend as many of our meetings as he wanted to. And so he's decided to step aside and make that seat available to someone who is more available to actively participate. So we thank him for his service, and that's another vacancy on the board. On to governance and nominating committee, and Rachel Williams.
Well, the first thing is this something that I present?
No, let me do it.
I feel like you.
When Mike Malinsky resigned, it left a vacancy for the office of secretary.
He wants to.
And so we need to elect a new secretary. And the governance and nominating committee has recommended Rachel Levine as the new secretary of the board. Are there any other board members who would like to express interest in being secretary? Seeing, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to elect Rachel as our new secretary.
Make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I accept.
Thank
Thank you.
Can you say it loud?
Motion carried. Thank you. And now, Madam Secretary, if you will, give us the governance and nominating committee report.
Yeah, we have some bylaw changes that we had discussed. Andy, do you wanna just, I think it's some small edits.
Right, primarily the changes are just grammatical in nature, cleaning up some syntax and things like that. The big thing, however, is on page 8 of your packet. The committee had a discussion about meeting quorum, and some of the challenges that surrounded that, and also a recognition of kind of the openings we've had for a while. So, the recommendation coming from the committee is to modify the number of directors to 15. So that's really kind of the most significant item there. In the bylaw changes. The other is just making it clear that the treasurer's overseeing the financial affairs of the corporation. Page 12 of your packet, dealing, just again, this was more of a typo, just making it clear that the chairperson of the governance and nominating committee will speak with the director who failed to meet, come to 3 consecutive board meetings. And then also, let's see, I think it's that. Yeah, 18 is just affirming how we vote to enter into contracts and things, that it's a vote of the board at our meeting as reflected in the minutes. And then I think we also just made it clear that someone could continue on as an officer. Yeah, that's just highlighted on page 8 of your packet, below where we talk about quorum. The expiration of a director's term shall not preclude them from serving as an elected officer. And again, that was previously in the bylaws, it just needed to be clarified a little more clearly within it. So we basically have changing the directors to 15, cleaning up the language that we already had, making it clear that someone could continue on as an officer. Page 10, making it clear that the treasurer oversees the financial affairs. Page 12, making it clear that the governance and nominating committee chairperson would oversee someone who missed 3 consecutive meetings and talk to them about their ability to continue to serve. And then just making it clear that we have a majority vote on any sort of significant contract. But really, I think the topic for discussion would be the quorum issue.
We have, from time to time, had difficulty fielding a quorum. And the minimum for a quorum is 9. And that's with 17 independent members. There are 2 types of board members, independent and ex officio. Ex officio is you are automatically on the board by virtue of the position that you occupy. President under the community development, the executive director of the workplace board, and so forth. All the rest of us are so-called independent directors. There are 17 of us right now, at least 17 positions. 3 of them are vacant. But having 17 independent members requires a quorum of 9. Reducing that to 15 will reduce the quorum to 8. So instead of needing 9 independent members here, we only need 8. Doesn't sound like a big difference, but believe me, it's a big difference. So that will help us in ensuring we have a quorum at every meeting. Instead of 3 vacancies, we would now have 1 vacancy to make the 15. So any questions or thoughts about that? So other questions or comments on any of the other items in the bylaw update? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Take a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Andrew. Thank you. Okay, on to loan matters. Brother Ken Leggett, the Chair of the Loan Committee, not able to be here today. So Martha, may I call on you to review the loan portfolio?
Yes, thank you, Tim. Loan client A, we're sending a demand letter this week. Loan client B is looking through their issues and they're in very close touch with us. Loan client C, I'm happy to say they made a second payment on both their loans in May, so they're current on one and they're still 30 days in arrears on the other. And loan client D has been in touch with us. We're expecting a bunch of follow-up checks this week. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Martha, what page is that portfolio? I'm sorry.
Make sure.
Before the bylaws.
Oh, okay. Questions or comments on the loan portfolio? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
1 second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
The key to this is there's $10,000 delinquent on $2.5 million on the street. And just a credit to Martha and Steve and Kat in terms of keeping on top of our clients to be able to help them stay on top of their commitments.
Okay, loan requests?
Good morning, everybody. Not in your packet, but worth noting, with thanks to the members of the loan committee, the loan request to INME was approved by the loan committee and commitment letters have been sent. We expect to close that in the weeks ahead. Also not in your packet is this morning's request from Tiny Town Farms LLC located in Taconic. They are a retail establishment farm store. The request of us was $50,000 that we will split between the 2 loan funds. Monthly payment being $870.57 with an interest rate of 7.75%. Purpose of the loan, equipment and inventory purchases with some working capital, and the collateral being the lien on business assets and the personal guarantee of the 2 principals. This is Tiny Town Farm Store located in Taconic, and it was approved or recommended to the board by our loan committee. Thank you.
Good. Any questions about this loan request? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
The search committee met as we continue the process of getting everything in order for posting the position of president and CEO later this year. The committee was able to finalize a range of salary. I'm not gonna announce that right now, but I'll share that with you by email, so you know. And the committee decided to, instead of post the position in August, it'd be more like September or October. We didn't think we needed to be quite as early. So we'll be ready when it's time in the fall to post the position, regrettably, with Mike's impending resignation. Again, Mike is with us until June 30th of 2026. And our goal is to have the new person hired and on board and ready to be introduced at the annual meeting in 2026, at the end of April. Those of you on the search committee, anything I missed? Good. On to the treasurer's report, Mike.
Good morning. If you open your package, page 26, we can take a quick look at the balance sheet. See that with respect to the CEDC loan account, available to lend 698, that's $95,000 more than we had at this point last year. You can see with the 5-7 year loan cycle, even though we're ahead of where we were last year in terms of getting loans on the street, it's it's not a challenge, but it is the business model that requires us to really get loaned out as quickly as possible once the funds that are on the street come back in terms of principal payment. You'll see our total operating bank account is down 78,000. We're a quarter behind with the SBA in terms of their reimbursement. And we did just receive $115,000 from the county in May, so we're back to about $211,000 in cash. The finance committee and I did speak with our treasurer, Brian Mahoney, a month or two ago, where we did create a cash flow chart so that we could closely monitor cash, even though we are on budget. You can also see, though, that when you look at under total checking and savings, you can see that the SBA cash account is at 422,000, which means is $51,000 on the street more than last year. So we have been attempting to use the SBA money so that we would be in a position to draw down additional SBA funds. And I think we may have reported that we anticipated being able to draw down another $1 million from the SBA. And we did sign a contract, and Martha, we put in to draw down the first 350,000 of that on Friday.
Correct.
So we were somewhat apprehensive as to whether the SBA program would still be available to us. And so we did advance some of the loans through the SBA channel rather than the CEDC channel. But again, when you net that out, we're still about $40,000 less on the street today, but we did bring down another 250 since last April. Our current assets are up 256,000, which is the $250,000 that we drew down from the SBA and some other adjustments. Our fixed assets are up based on accounting calculations that are required, which relate to accumulated depreciation primarily. If we look at our bad debt, we are $13,000 more in our account. You'll recall at the end of last year, we put 25,000 in. But last year we had drawn down about $12,000 in write-offs. But again, if you remember, we have in the SBA reserve account, 302,000 in cash against the SBA loans that are on the street. And this is the paper account that we use to adjust the balance sheet if we write off loans. And if you take we're over 15% of our portfolio, and we've never been at that rate in write-offs. The right to use asset, again, is a accounting calculation based on depreciation. So our total assets are up by $229,000. On the liability side, you again, our other liabilities are up 220,000. Our long-term liabilities are up because of drawing down on the loan fund, and the remaining items on the balance sheet are relatively stable. And again, we're at 5.5 million. And you can see that it really is driven by having increased the loan fund over the last 10 years that the balance sheet has grown. I think we reported previously that we did do an analysis, not knowing what would happen with the SBA program. And if the SBA program had ended and that there was no further funds for us to draw down from the SBA to put on the street, you'll recall we pay the SBA back, but we keep the interest over the 5 years that we would continue to operate the program for the purpose of collecting the outstanding loans. In the reserve account and the interest earned, we would have over $500,000 in net proceeds, which then we would put into the county loan fund so that the county loan fund could have operated on its own at almost $2.5 million. That fortunately hasn't happened, and the only thing that we are waiting on is the SBA has not yet identified for us what our grant amount will be for July 1, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. And by this time, in previous years, we would have known that. They did request that we submit all of the paperwork necessary for them to award that grant, including resumes of staff and other items that are submitted annually. And Martha and I are keeping close contact with the SBA as to when that will happen. Have you had any further updates, Martha?
Not yet.
Obviously, if they're giving us another $1 million to loan, presumably they will give us money to manage the program that will get that money on the street. Any questions on the balance sheet? Moving back a page to page 24 on the P&L. We're up modestly on $1,500 on administrative revenue. We're down $20,000 on Columbia County revenue. We had budgeted for additional broadband funding. And basically that's going to be supplemented and or replaced by money from a $120,000 2-year grant that we received from the Connect All office. But at the time we did the budget, it was money that we anticipated getting from the county, not the state. And we are down on bank interest, but that's because we're down on cash. But we are up $2,600 over budget for on the interest on the loans that we have on the street. So we have a positive interest income line of 927. We did do well on the annual meeting. We brought in about $8,000 in sponsorship. And that money gets reported, so we are $12,000 ahead there. You know, we still are not where we want to be as an organization in terms of raising membership dollars. And that is something that you know, we're going to begin working on now, so that in November, when we're out attempting to raise those funds for the following year, we'll you know, have a program that is much more robust and involves board members' assistance in helping us raise that. We're only $1,200 off on the SBA microloan program. So when you all of that, we're less than 2% off on revenue at negative $7,000. We're down on every category as you go down through the expenses until you get to land bank expense. And that's an expense that we will be reimbursed on. And I don't think we've booked the due from land bank expense. We are down on new initiatives, and we are down on professional fees, and $18,000 down on payroll. You'll see that on office expense, we're up 2,500, but we did put in a new phone system, and we did put in, we transferred from a legacy server, 7-year-old server, to the cloud. And while the cost of doing that would have been $20,000 if we had redone the server, there was some cost in terms of that we didn't anticipate with respect to the transfer of those two items. So, you know, we are a bit 6% over budget on office expense. And we miscalculated the interest from the SBA. During COVID, they didn't charge us anything. And so, you know, we do have to pay back the SBA with interest. And Martha, they're charging us now,
I think it's 2 3/4.
2 3/4. But I think we had budgeted it as if they weren't going to charge us at all. So our total expenses are down by $74,000. And when you get to the bottom line, we're down net income of negative 8,000, but we had projected being down negative 75. So I think, you know, we're on the budget we anticipated being on. Obviously, we break even at the end of the year, so you know, we had projected the early months that we would be on a negative monthly basis, but that will accrue as time goes on, and will get us to zero or a modest profit. So we have sufficient money to put a little more into reserve account. Any questions? Thank you.
I was just curious about the membership. You said there's some plans to make some changes there, or?
Well, we need to beef it up.
Mhm.
You know, we are next year going to, you know, we'll have two issues. One, we will not have the $85,000 that we're currently receiving from the county from ARPA money. And we will also not have the $90,000 that we are receiving from the county for the housing initiative. But we did start the land bank, and Chris Brown has been working on that, and that comes with a state grant that will replace the county grant. But you know, we do need to originally tried to budget $60,000 to $75,000 for membership, and we struggle getting to, you know, 35 to 40. Obviously, with 75% of the 2,000 businesses in the county having less than 10 employees, and those who are larger and would be in other markets, the people who would be at the top of the philanthropy list, they know we get, they're in the know to the extent that we receive significant funds from the county. And I think they feel that they gave it the office through their tax dollars. But I do think, you know, we don't want to.
We've had really good luck on membership over the last 4 or 5 years by kind of creating incentives where and I know it's a very different kind of membership, but, where we do these sort of higher level numbers, we do these special sort of receptions and sort of inside looks at things that are going on behind the scenes, and I don't know whether it would be an equivalent for CEDC, which might be business development or meeting some new owners, new people in town or something, I mean, in terms of just
It's a good idea.
providing, so like
Kind of a
maybe
quarterly-
once a quarter, a kind of socially type gathering where you get to see a new premises or see what people are investing in and,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's a good idea. And
I know they have, what CLC does a similar thing on a quarterly basis. Troy does a walk, Troy Trek, they call it, but they kind of offer get to walk around with him and talk about trees kind of thing, but anyway.
well, and some of it may be partnering with organizations like yours.
Yeah.
You get to,
We'd be glad to host you for a special kind
Yeah.
of thing or something, yeah.
but I know, Jim and I had talked, previously about a marketing committee and a membership committee, not a work group, I guess,
Yeah.
not a formal committee. And, perhaps at the June meeting, we could, reestablish that, because I know several of you have, experience in those areas, and
That'd be,
it would be helpful.
participate.
I think maybe some roundtables where we bring industry, whether
Yeah.
industry leaders or business owners, talk about the problems, how we can help them as well.
Great. That concludes the treasurer's report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, before you do that, let's vote on accepting the treasurer's report.
Make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
The next item, Mr. Chairman, is approving the annual grant from CEDC to the Columbia County Capital Resource Corporation. This is basically the organization that's in existence under state law for us, for the county to be able to support bonding for not-for-profit organizations. Unfortunately, the last deal we did was for the hospital years ago. Those bonds were paid off, I think, 2 years ago. I think it's still our recommendation to the board that we continue supporting this because there may be organizations like the hospital or like the Shaker Museum or other not-for-profit organizations that in this current interest rate would want to do tax exempt financing. And it can't be done through the IDA. It can only be done through this entity established by the legislature. If there was a $20 million deal for this group, they would get a $200,000 fee and they'd be set forever. So, to keep it in existence for $5,000 a year, even for 10 years is a good rate of return for the community. So we would recommend again that it's been budgeted for, and we would ask that the board approve the funds, $5,000, which is used to pay the insurance, the accountant, and some minor legal expenses.
So it's a tool that you take out of the toolbox on an as-needed basis.
And you'd hate to be in a situation where all of a sudden someone wanted to do something and you said, oh, well, for $5,000 a year, we didn't, on $1 million budget, we didn't sustain it.
Well, and I think the other important thing is the enabling legislation that's kind of gone away. So if you have one of these, you're allowed under law to keep it. Once you get rid of it, it's gone forever. So we're in that stage where we need to keep it alive.
Any discussion?
Do we work with any of the local fire agencies on the tax exempt financing? Do we work with any of the local fire agencies on the tax exempt? I know a lot of times they do tax exempt and sometimes they don't.
No, we could look into that as a model. Check with,
I know we do a lot of the
George
bank,
Field.
but I have a colleague that only handles the fire EMS, and I know sometimes
Mhm.
some of the smaller departments don't have the resources to get that tax exempt financing, but it's a big savings.
great.
Would it also have anything to do with municipalities?
They have their own ability.
They have their own, okay.
That popped in my mind for a minute and I had to check it myself.
No, just having reviewed the comprehensive plan and
Yeah,
can't hear what they're thinking about building a community center or something.
yeah.
All right, so is there a motion to approve the renewal of the CRC grant?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried, thank you.
Before going into my activity report, Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to ask for a resolution on our recommendation to renew our $10,000 a year membership with Pattern for Progress. That, one of the things that, it's above my $5,000, approval limit, it was budgeted for. Patterns is the 7-county economic development organization to, the south. Orange, Rockland, Sullivan, Ulster, Green, nine. I'm being corrected, which is great, because I was starting to say I'm counting more than 7. They have been very helpful to us. They did the study on gap analysis. They also, as part of our membership, they do an annual study at our request. Last year's study was a study on housing in the city of Hudson. Previous years, they have helped us with demographic data and other activities. And again, we are also members of the Center for Economic Growth, which is the 8-county organization in the capital region. But that's because Columbia and Green are in the capital region for economic development funding, where Patterns is more of a think tank than a marketing and organization like CEDC. So I would recommend that we continue to do that. Frequently, we forward to you reports that we receive from Pattern. They've done reports on childcare, on vacant school buildings for adaptive reuse. And you may recall Adam Bosch was our keynote speaker at our annual meeting several years ago.
Is there a motion to approve the $10,000 allocation for membership in Patterns for Progress for the coming year?
Motion. I'll second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. On my report, we have provided you with a copy of the printed annual report that we used for the annual meeting. We thank those of you who were able to join us. We wanted everyone to have a copy. We also included a copy of our completed strategic plan. We're going to have an internal meeting later this week to go through it, so we don't just put it on the shelf and expect it to make up metrics at the end of the year based on it. As you'll recall, we did look at several key strategies through and where we lead and where we support or facilitate. And based on this model, we really focused in on our core function as business growth with infrastructure, quality of life, and workforce and education as supporting players in that process. There's a lot of, where do you put housing? Is that quality of life? Is that supporting workforce? Or is that infrastructure, as an example? No matter where you put it, water, sewer, gas, electric, and broadband that support housing has to be related to various aspects of this. So it's not as cut and dry as because each piece of what we do relates to the other aspects. Employers, if we're trying to support business growth, they too benefit from strong infrastructure, quality of life, and workforce needs. But we felt that focusing the attention of our community on business growth, helping new and established businesses and not-for-profits succeed with targeted business resources, direct loans and grants, and technical assistance was key, with the other 3 enablers bolstering our ability to support those core functions. We had a great turnout at the annual meeting, and I think we are very appreciative of to Dr. Drummer for hosting us at the college. I think it's always good for business groups to realize that the college is here and all of the resources that the college brings to the overall economy of the county. Moving forward, I was in Albany last week at the Capital Region Economic Development Council's kickoff meeting. We did send out last Tuesday a 3,500 plus email outlining indicating that the 2025 Regional Council Award process has been launched. The deadline for applications is July 31st. I have been told that they are not going to do rolling awards this year from Empire State Development. You know, we had criticized the program on the basis that you only find out in May when to apply, and you have to apply by July, and you don't find out till December. You lost a year in your development process as a business. And it wasn't, it wasn't time sensitive to the needs of business. So for 2 years, they were doing rolling applications. I don't know if they will make announcements on a rolling basis, but all applications have to be in on a hard deadline of July 31st. That puts tremendous pressure on us because, as you know, we like to play above our weight in that process. Over in the last 2 cycles, we have had over between 15 and 20% of the awards in the region when we're only 5% of the population. Thanks to Sean Sawyer and Olana for $1.5 million that we added to that pile, and to the city of Hudson for the 10 million they added to their sewer and water system. But nonetheless, it is a good benchmark. We are hosting with Greene County on check the 18th or the 20th, a roundtable for people who are interested in regional council funding and at the college. And there will be another session with agency representatives at Hudson Valley Community College on June 10th. What we end up doing is guiding people through the process. We don't do their applications for them because we just don't have the resources, and we can't, they divert our attention to one potential applicant when there's 20 people looking for help. But we do have a number of technical advisors and technical assistance providers that we can refer them to where they can who have done these things regularly. We are also focusing in on a second round of the Office of Community Renewals entrepreneurship funds, micro enterprise grants. We received a $300,000 award, as I believe you're aware. Martha and Steve have held the first the classes have been completed, and funds are about to be received to be dispersed to the clients. Yeah. And you can get up to $25,000. You have to be in business for 2 years. You can't have more than 5 employees, including the owner. And you have some obligation to hire someone who is a moderate income recipient or employee. How many grants did we end up?
13.
13. We did 14 last time?
It was 13 again.
13?
Yeah.
Last time you'll recall, we oversubscribed, so we waived our fee. This year we haven't, and the fee, I believe, is $25,000 that we'll collect. We're also working with the village of Kinderhook as part of their New York Forward program. They received $2.4 million. There was $300,000 of funding in there for small business grants. We, at the time, were asked to administer that program. Steve and I and Martha met with the mayor, Kinderhook, and people on her team. And we have another meeting tomorrow, Thursday.
Yeah.
Where we're going to finalize the details so that we can hold a public meeting. There's a limited number of people who are eligible because of the fact that you can only be eligible if you're in the footprint that was created when the New York Forward program was approved. We did use tax records to identify all of the commercial properties, and it's only available to businesses. And businesses include landlords who may want to upgrade a upstairs apartment in terms of affordable housing. We also have an inordinate amount of single projects that we're working on. Over 50. Obviously you need 10 to get 2. But you know, there's continuous local and out-of-town funding coming to us for guidance and advice on the development side. We're in today's Times Union, above the fold on the front page of the local section about the proposed 154 unit apartment in Greenport, proposed by Kempner development out of White Plains and Baxter out of Poughkeepsie. Baxter is the contractor for the housing project that Galvin is completing, as you see in the parking lot. We expect this week or next week that the K&R project, which is the Providence Hall and Schuyler Court conversion project, being done by K&R Development, also out of the New York City area. They come in and they take an old Section 8 project. They buy it, they put significant dollars into it, and then they I can't wait to see it because I've heard they've done it in Kingston and Herkimer and other communities successfully. But you know, today they come in and everybody gets a new ice box. So tomorrow everybody gets a new washing machine. Tomorrow all the bedrooms get painted.
That's starting when?
Well, they're closing on the loan, so that should probably start sometime in July. And you know, I think they fix up the community room and, you know, bring in food and activities for the residents so they can, get out of their apartments while this is being done. But for the people that, as a result of the Hudson IDA, which we manage, agreeing to approve the financing structure, the developers committed that this will be a Section 8 project for another 30 years. So, I mean, had that not happened, it was going to be sold to a private developer who would have weeded out all of the residents, completely did a gut rehab and made it market rate apartment. So there were some issues with the state that we were actively involved in to try to keep this in place, working with Mayor Johnson and his team, because 150 apartment units, even with 1.5 people in each average, you'd have 200 plus people on the street over a short period of time. So that was a big success. I want to ask Chris Brown to give us a 3-minute update on housing. We have a Board of Supervisors Economic Development Committee meeting, so it'd be good. We have an alternative engagement on the radio. And I can write down what I'm supposed to report to the Board of Supervisors.
All right, so quick items. A couple of grants that are already in progress, the Plus One EDU program, which we were a little bit tangentially involved in. That was a wild success. 50 applications came in, 35 qualified, narrowed down to 14 winners. Those winners projects have all basically passed pre-development assessment. So RUPCO is going to move forward with those 14 award winners, and those contracts should be getting signed within the next couple of weeks. There's another grant program that's currently open. That's why I can't go to the EDC tonight. Pre-taping a radio show as part of the marketing pitch. There's a webinar on Thursday night. This is the vacant rental improvement program that RUPCO is administering in 4 counties. And that is basically to turn currently vacant residential units or just vacant property in general into affordable apartments. And that's basically got an open rolling period, but spots are filling fast. So we want to really market this. The third piece was the state budget. So this passed obviously pretty recently. There was some good news in there for housing. It's always a mixed bag with housing. Some new things that we really like that aren't well defined yet. So I'll update everyone when we have a little bit more clarity on that. There's a $50 million pot of money for starter homes. That's a brand new program. We have no idea what that is. There's an additional $40 million for land banks. So they got funded once again, even in light of the Supreme Court decision that sort of scuttled land banks a little bit for how they generally operated. And then the small rental development initiative pot of money was increased from $7 million to $10 million. All these things kind of add up. The land bank needs I want to pull out specifically, I just went to the Land Bank Conference, the New York State Land Bank Association Conference in Oswego last week.
Beautiful Oswego.
Beautiful Oswego. I got to see the best Western and came home. It's pretty close to the lake though. So Crystal Loeffler was there, who's the president of the Office of Community Renewal, and one of her pitches at the conference was, what sort of program gaps are there out there that your communities need? And let's figure out if we can use land bank funding to create programs or supplement programs that are already in existence, which is great news for us because very few of the state's programs target either rural areas or are appropriate for rural areas or at the income levels that we need. I always have to do a data point. If I don't do a data point, I'm not doing my job. Because of that conversation that we were having in Oswego, when I came home, I pulled a spreadsheet together. I compared the area median incomes of all 62 counties as well as the median home sales price. What I found was at the 80% AMI level, there are 5 counties in New York City where the gap is over $1,000 in what that person can afford monthly at that AMI level compared to the median home sales price. We tend to discount the city because it's special. Outside of the city, there are 9 other counties where that's the case. 8 of them are in Pattern for Progress's catchment area, so essentially the Mid-Hudson Valley region. The 9th is in Saratoga County, but Putnam County would get added back in. They're like $5 off. So there's a really big need specifically in our region that we don't know about, but I think things like that can help make the case at the state level that we need a little bit more attention and a little bit more assistance, because what has happened in our housing market is so unrelated to what's happening in our local jobs market that we need a little bit of help kind of reconciling those two things.
Thank you. And one of the other issues that the Housing Task Force has asked Chris and I to focus in on is remediation of existing homes.
Yes, and I think that's something, so there are programs for that at the state level. Some of them are really tricky to work with. There's the CDBG single family home rehab. You're dealing with federal money there, so you're dealing with federal restrictions. The other piece of the state budget that I want to highlight, they set aside $100 million for infrastructure specifically for pro-housing communities. We continue to lead the state in that area. We have, again, all of our towns and villages in the city are all in the pipeline. We've got 12 that are now certified with 3 pending, but now we're on the clock. You basically have to be certified before the awards from the CFA round are made. So we've got 2 months to get everybody done.
And how many municipalities have not completed the submission of the required data to actually be certified?
To me, 6. So I've got a couple of calls to make this week. Great.
Give me that list for tonight, thanks.
Okay.
So you can see, you know, we're really busy, lots going on. Some days we look at each other and say, yeah, we need to go home. Just to get a break from all of it, but it's we're still very engaged and excited and motivated by the work we do. So any questions?
Thank you, Mike. It occurred to me as we were electing Rachel as the secretary, we never made a recommendation on who should be the ethics officer. So why don't we refer that to your committee to identify a qualified person to recommend to the board to be the ethics officer. That position was also held by Mike Loomis. There's no requirement that the secretary and the ethics officer be the same person. Let's see.
Can we make you the acting ethics officer until that's determined, just because the state may come in and say, you have a gap in that area? Or maybe the.
If anybody asks,
Yeah.
I'm the acting. Could I please have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 22nd meeting? So
Second.
all in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Do we have any public comments? Any members of the public tuning in? If not. Upcoming meetings in the month of June. June 10th, the executive committee meets. June 16th, the loan committee, and June 24th is the board meeting. In closing, I want to add my thanks to Carly Drummer and her staff at the college for their warm hospitality for our annual meeting. The feedback from rank and file attendees at this function was very positive. We had great participation from our board and our staff. Among my colleagues who came to the podium to present pieces of the program with Rachel and Tara and Brian and Mike and Andy, and I apologize if I missed anybody, but good job. And the staff did an outstanding job of organizing and planning and interfacing with the college staff. So I'm very proud of the final product there. Good job. Carly Drummer, is this your final board meeting?
It is indeed.
We will have a group hug right over here. But thank you for your outstanding service to.
I've learned so much from being on this board. I really appreciate the opportunity. And I know that my successor is going to continue building on the great momentum that we have going at the college right now. And hope that this group will come back and use our space again next year.
Okay. Thank you for your service. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Unless there's some opportunity to get a little bit of feedback, we have 3 or 4 minutes here.
All right.
You know, you're out and about. I know we've talked a bit about working on some hamlet development where some of our villages and hamlets are starting to see open spaces. You know, just get a little bit of feedback, and if not, perhaps we could build that into the June meeting.
Anyone with thoughts right here?
Sure, Mike, so what exactly are you looking for?
What are you hearing on the street? What, you know,
With storefronts and stuff, the empty storefronts?
yeah, and also, you know, are you at the annual meeting, did someone say, oh, they should be doing this, or, I mean, is it just, you know, any kind of general feedback? And, but I think one of the areas that, multiple people have highlighted to us is, you know, looking at a hamlet strategy and village.
All right, so let's put that on the agenda for
Next meeting,
the June
yeah.
meeting, along with some more.
Because we get isolated, at times, and we're all in different, areas of business, and have different, networks, and it would be good to hear back, as to how we can take the strategic plan and actually implement it where it makes a difference, to the people that you're interacting and engaging with.
But I would say just very locally, for me, living in the village of Kinderhook, and you know, they have the ones that you're helping with, I'm very glad to hear you're getting involved there, because I think there's a kind of conundrum that the village has where there are a couple property owners who own a number of the empty storefronts and, you know, haven't done much or anything with them. And so when the grant requests were being solicited by the village and there were some of those property owners put them in, there's a lot of pushback that why should they get support of this kind if they aren't, you know, and yet I think there has to be a bigger above the forest sort of look at that to see what might help move that in some way. I don't know, that might be my perspective.
I think what we found in the New York Forward program, which is something that we helped get the state to look at, because $10 million in these smaller communities would have been wasteful. They just would have been doing things that, you know, because they had the money.
Right.
But having a smaller amount of money and the fact that everyone knows each other in a small village, you know, if I give it to you for your business, the other restaurant in town is upset, so they gave it to neither, and they used the money for community development, which isn't a bad thing, but it really wasn't what the money was.
Right.
I was selected for the LPC committee for Catskill, so if anybody does want to be more a part, we're doing like small working groups and things, and or if you do have ideas, please let me know, because this is different for me being on a planning side of a selection grant than being the one who actually is applying for the grant. So just, we've had one meeting so far. We have another one coming up on June 26th. So a long one, 4 hours.
And you shared the front page of the local section of the Times Union this morning with the housing project in Greenport, the Catskill DRI.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, they've been like assigning us to small working groups even. I have one coming up, I think in 2 weeks. And they were asking for people and groups who should be involved in the conversation. And some committee members made suggestions and things, so, but it's hard to kind of all be on the same page with who should be involved or if we're missing anybody. So like I said, just please let me know if anybody wants to be more involved.
Chris?
just from an equal time standpoint, the village of Philmont is also applying for DRI. So I'm sure both counties are represented.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Right.
Thank you very much.